Hey everybody, welcome to the Wombo Podcast. I am Mr. Gimpy, and as always, next to me is Chipped Monk. What's going on, bro?
How's it going? Yeah, I'm just chilling. I'm living life, living my best life. How about you?
The best life. Oh, dude, I am so fucking pumped. The gamescom just happened, and we will discuss that.
Well, probably more next week. Or Gamescom?
Gamescom.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm excited about games,
Sorry.
but I'm not that excited about games.
All right,
where
I
I'm
got
just
you.
jizzing everywhere. But so King of Fighters 15 had announcements when we're in the Fatal Fury hat today. Every hero
on it.
ever in King of Fighters is confirmed to be in the game, including Ash Crimson, who story-wise is dead. But Ash Crimson's back.
Is he story-wise coming back, or are they just like, fuck it, he's back?
Well, I don't know idea. We'll see. But it's confirmed playable. Every background music ever in King of Fighters is in this game. It's like this dream King of Fighters game so far. The gameplay looks so fucking slick, smooth, and it looks like the Street Fighter 4 style revival for King of Fighters. So I am pumped, dude. Confirmed rollback netcode as well, which is the first time SNK has done it. So as far as fighting games, man, I am hype as fuck. So can't wait.
I'm gonna just throw like a fucking side wrench into your turbo engines. Did Guilty Gear come out with a new game? I want to say that they have one dropping, right?
Where the fuck have you been, dude? That's like the number one fighting game right now. Guilty Gear Strive. It's literally the number one fighting game
out there, right?
Slayer's not in there. No,
yeah,
Slayer
died.
Guy
looks like me. I know. That's why I fell off when Slayer fell off, bro. I was like, all right, I'm out.
Dude, don't let your fucking...
I was looking at all the reworks. They got rid of like all the belt buckles and everything. Everybody looks like really streamlined and beautiful now.
Don't let your racism cloud you from that great ass game, dude. It's so dude. Don't let your bullshit cloud you from a great experience, dude. It'll probably win fighting game of the year, like no joke. Not even anything else can come out and Guilty Gear's gonna win it. Like that's how fucking good that game is. It is.
Holy shit.
Not only it doesn't have like rollback netcode, which everyone's there. It's a solid ass game. They kind of scaled back a little bit on some of the more wacky shit that Guilty Gear's known for. Like there's no insta kills, which hardcore fans are mad about, but no one really used them that hard in like competitive play, you know? It's like you weren't using them anyway, but it was a cool spectacle. But when you played against a casual player, they're like, what the fuck is this? Okay, I'm dead. Yeah, fuck this game. Never played again.
Yeah.
It being more casually oriented there was a worry that it would have been so scaled back that it wasn't Guilty Gear, but no, it's Guilty Gear, dude. It's great. It is great. I have it. If next time we see each other in person, we should play that shit. It's great.
Maybe I'll download if they got the netcode. Is that on Steam?
It's on Steam. Yep, it's great.
That was what I liked about Guilty Gear. They started actually putting it out like on PC.
Yep.
They were pretty early on that. I would say they were a little bit. Maybe I'm speaking out of school. I want to say they're a little bit before like Street Fighter started putting everything out like on Steam. But that might be wrong. It was right around the same like year period.
It's wrong, but you're not far off because fans were able to tinker with the game. So like Guilty Gear X2 Reload had a fan patch that had improved netcode. So that's for a while there, like Melty Blood and Guilty Gear had the best netcode on PC out before like rollback netcode became a thing. So. Yeah, it's an interesting thing, but dude,
we got our Guilty Gear to tie us over till Fatal Fury.
King of Fighters. So the other thing like Gamescom came out with
cough, dude.
Yes, sir. The other thing that Gamescom came out with was there's a new Metroid Dread trailer. So pretty much the final trailer for the game. So that's probably one of my like 1 to 2 most looking forward to games of 2021. So it's Metroid 4, you know what I mean? Or I'm sorry, Metroid 5. So the true sequel, side-scrolling. It looks incredible.
Happening.
I can't wait.
This is why they sent out all the cease and desist.
And finally the bad news out of 343 is Halo Infinite, December 8th release date, which is solid. It's really tail end of this quarter.
I feel
but
like
let me finish. Hold on. No launching with no co-op. No Forge. No Forge isn't even that big of a deal because well, a lot of people would tinker with Forge after they played through like the single player things like that and played the multiplayer for longer. But no co-op at launch. The fuck are you doing, 343? Like
they pulled it back, bro. They like Tom and Jerry the fucking rug up from
so
underneath us.
after Halo 5 came out, when
Did they cite like the
COVID
coof as the
Yeah,
I feel like that's just like the go-to, and I'm not
it's a
saying it's
cop
not
out.
like a legitimate excuse, but it's been like over a year now, and like you should have the online working, the remote working should be, you should have that under control at this point.
So here's the thing that upsets me about it. I'm not upset that the game's coming out like feature stripped, right? I'm not that upset
Yeah.
about that. I'm upset that 343 has come out after Halo 5. When with an interview, it was with 343 and the Coalition, two developers who took over franchises. These studios were created to take over franchises. Coalition was created to take over Gears. 343 was created to take over Halo because obviously Bungie was done with it, and Epic and Cliffy B's input was gone from Gears. So two companies came up to do this. The interviewer, I can't remember what media source was interviewing them. I'm sure when I say the content, I'm sure it'll ring a bell. But
90% of things we say on this podcast are made up. This is for entertainment
not
purposes only.
Not this. So the interviewer asks, what about co-op in the future? Because Halo 5 launched without split screen co-op. The Gears head at Coalition spouted up and said, there will never be a Gears of War game without split screen co-op.
Yep.
And they were true to their word. Gears 4 launched with split screen co-op. Gears 5 launched with split screen co-op. And they were true to their word.
Say what you will. Play some Gears, bro.
Say what you will about the quality of Gears 4 to Gears 5. Some like old heads really hated it. I thought Gears 5 really righted the ship with Kate Diaz and things like that. But they stuck to their word. You still have a great co-op experience with those games. Now, 343 after Halo 5, they said, that's one of our regrets, is not having split screen co-op, and a lot of the fans were disappointed, understandably.
I was disappointed.
And then they were like,
I've told my tragic story on this very pod before.
And they've said we figured that most people play online anyway, but they discounted everyone who played with like their brother, sister, or whoever like in the same house. They're like, buy 2 Xboxes. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So
it was kind of like their Sony moment where they're like, you'll get a second job just to play like on the new Sony PlayStation. Everyone's like, bro, you can't say that.
So them saying that, and then after, at the tail end of this interview, they said, we've looked at it and we realized our mistake. So you have our word that every future Halo will include split screen. So they come out and they come out with fucking hat in hand going, sorry boys, we don't have split screen it's not even just split screen. We don't have co-op at launch. They don't even have it online. Like, it's not just split screen. They don't have it online, dude. What the fuck? How are you producing this game and every single person who's played Halo has played it co-op, right? That's one of the big things. Like when we were sitting there,
you didn't mention that online part before, bro, because I was like, well, you have an Xbox now, I have an Xbox, like we can still play, and then you're like, nah.
Nope. So
you're
co-op
like,
in general is gone. It's gone. So here's what they said. They cited COVID as the problem, and then they said we plan on releasing it after the first season, so season 2, and each season's going to be 3 months. So by about February, so December, January, February, March. So like March, end of February, March, it'll come out.
How convenient that first quarter right after earnings call.
Yep. So, people are going, what the fuck, right? Like, no one's that mad about Forge, right? Because Halo 5, I believe Forge launched a little later anyway, or it was more refined later. Not a big deal, but
I would say that there's a dedicated Halo modding community online
there is.
Who loves Forge, but they also made their own tools to, get in there and really mess around.
Well, you're not doing it right now with a brand new release. That's not
no.
So,
not the new stuff, but like the old stuff. Like, I just said Halo as a blanket term. It's mostly Halo 2 and 3. I want to say that they're really injecting like different code and like
3.
they're allowed. What?
It's 3.
It's 3.
Yeah.
I've seen some stuff on too, bro. People are dedicated to their craft of modding Halo,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, they do a lot of fun and interesting stuff. I want to say like flamethrowers was like first seen in like Halo mods on PC, and then like
It actually was a legitimate Bungie or Gearbox added flamethrowers because Bungie had code for it. Gearbox saw it and they just said, "Fuck it, turn it on." That was Halo 1 on PC.
I want to say hippity hoppity. They saw the mods in the forum, and they're like, "Now this is our property."
No, it's
All
already on.
right.
It's already on.
Uh,
And so on Xbox, modders did find code for flamethrowers, so they added it as well. But Gearbox was the first to legitimately have it in game because of like leftover code from
flamethrowers
Bungie.
not a great weapon, but they do stuff. You know what
No,
I'm saying?
flamethrowers are awesome.
Yeah.
Like blood. Okay, take Blood Gulch, right? You're going to take a flag. You have people in the base. Like let's say you're on the ground floor, blue base or something. Just fucking go in from the top, flamethrower the whole area. It spreads out. You fucking get a quick quad, and then you're out of there, dude.
Yeah. With
Like
the flag.
yeah. I mean, you throw the flamethrower down and you keep your pistol out and
Okay.
go. But you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
This plays. It just adds a dynamic play, especially like there was a couple
the
of
Rocket
like,
Hog as well. Rocket Warthog.
you know, we've talked a little bit about Splitgate. There's some maps in Splitgate that make way more sense, like in certain game type modes, where like
Yeah.
you're playing it like a deathmatch, and you're like, this map is terrible. Like I don't understand. And then like you'll play King of the Hill on there, and then you're like, oh, this makes so much more sense now. Like this is great.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So or like you'll play like a capture the flag, and you're like, all right, this makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to say like there's no map like that on Halo though, where you're like, oh, this map only makes sense if you're playing like this game type mode on it.
There's so Halo.
I saw your fucking face like drop. You're like, I disagree, bro. You can't even let me have
talking to
the
somebody
good map designs.
who's played Halo competitively for most of my life. so I mean, Halo was one of the games that actually had recommendations for what game types to play on certain maps, like certain ball. Like you could do whatever you want on every map, but then they underneath when you highlighted over it, it said what this map works best for. Some work best for assault, CTF, one flag. Some that worked for one flag didn't work for two flag CTF because of the map layout. And Bungie initially was smart enough to just go, hey, this is what we would kind of recommend for it. You can do what you want, but you know,
it's the design philosophy behind
exactly. They got rid of that with 343 real or 343 is like coming in really,
like,
but
whatever.
Yeah, so it was interesting. But yeah, Gamescom, man. Like I'm sure we'll go into it more on a different episode, but that's kind of what's going on in the industry, man. So what have you been up to for gameplay, man? How have you been?
This kind of ties a little bit back into what we are just talking about. I started playing some Overwatch again, and like they're changing up McCree's name in that game because I guess like it was one of the dudes who was like named in the lawsuit
harassment scandal. Yeah.
Allegedly. Who knows?
No, it's. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed now.
I mean,
it's confirmed he didn't do it, or he did.
It's confirmed. He did. He didn't. I don't know. That's up to the court
it's confirmed
of
he
law
did.
to decide. Like it's not me. Here, the court of public opinion. Like me personally, I feel let the courts decide. Like I try not to render any judgment on people, but like, so changing McCree's name, and they're like, that's coming in September, and they're gonna have like a story reason to do that. People really didn't care the community about that. They cared more about like the little part announcement with that, where they're like, oh, so we're gonna put like a new map and some new costumes out. People are like, how come you haven't been fucking putting this shit out? So like, I don't know. People have been saying like Overwatch has been dead. I would say it's reached its final form. Which is the perfect time to play it, in my opinion. Like, it's why I enjoyed Paladins when that game first came out because it was so well balanced. There's so few. And my voice cracked there a little bit. Still recovering.
That's because your voice knew you were full of bullshit.
No, there's so much testosterone. I'm hitting puberty again for the first time, bro. My balls dropped. With this
live on pod. We got it on tape. Yeah.
Finally, the other testicles fallen.
Right, for sure.
Olympus has fallen, boys.
Call your balls Olympus. All right.
Yeah. Because I'm Zeus. Throw down that thunder.
You lost your place, didn't you?
No, bro. I was talking new cosmetics and stuff. Allegations aside, McCree's name's going to be changed. I don't know. Where I don't remember where I was going with that. But I've been playing Overwatch. It's been fun. The time to match is absurd right now.
was playing
Like,
it.
it's yeah, like, rank is, like, 10, 12 minutes, like, for my placement matches between each match, and, like, just casual plays, like, between, like, 7 and 8 minutes, and I remember being upset with that game when it was, like, 3 to 4 minutes. It's why I
Mhm.
stopped playing Paladins is because the queue time was so ridiculously long in that, and yeah, that's where I was at. I enjoyed Paladins because there's so few characters and the game was extremely well balanced, and I
Sure.
would say Overwatch at this point feels pretty balanced. I know a lot of people are upset because, they finally upped the DPS that the DPSs do, so it
Yeah.
made, like, the tank meta less viable, uh, so I think a lot of people are just kinda stuck in their old try hard ways of, like, doing whatever the pro teams were doing for the meta. They're like, "Oh, you
Okay.
just gotta do this." I don't know. I'm still maining Bastion, living my Bastion life. Uh,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
and he's super overpowered, especially because they upped his damage now. Like I'm melting everyone. It's amazing. At least to get out of bronze. Like I know my placement matches, I'm like, all right, I'm pretty sure they're putting me against bronze people. Because
Yeah.
the first time I played Overwatch, I placed in bronze.
Oh
Second
yeah.
time
Yeah.
I
That's your
placed in gold. I was
sure.
playing at the farm at the professor's house on his
Yep.
like dial-up connection.
Yep.
So like during my placement matches, I disconnected from 2 of them and they're like, "Welcome to Bronze Hell, boy. You're gonna be here for a while."
I
And I was
know
like, "All right."
when professors play that he get diamond too. So
Yeah.
so
He
did he flex
grinded
on
that
you?
game out.
Yeah.
Uh, always, but he wasn't a better player than me. Like,
Oh, shots fired.
yeah. Pew pew pew.
Yeah, dude.
So I don't know. I've been dabbling in the Overwatch. I played some Splitgate.
Sure.
I've just been doing that. Um, Still on my mobile game kick, playing those and part time. Still getting up early, hitting the gym, just
Nice.
walking. Like I didn't realize how out of shape I was until I told people I was walking
Yeah.
for an hour. I was like, yeah, I just been hitting up the treadmill. I just walk for like an hour in the morning, just to get the blood flowing. And they're like, you should take it easy, man. I'm like, what? And they're like, uh, don't go too hard on it. I'm like,
Alex,
I'm walking. And they're like,
Alex.
yeah, bro, but and I'm like, what are you trying to say, man? And they're like, you're fat as fuck, bro. That's what, but they don't say that. They just kind of like, they really dance around like you shouldn't be
Dude,
walking.
fucking,
Like,
you got like a
like,
fucking personal trainer who's like, "You fat motherfucker," it's just
no, they're just like it's more concerned. Like when it goes from like, hey, good for you to like, yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe you should, take it down a little bit. I'm like, but it's walking, and they're like, walking's not for everyone, really. That high level walking game,
that's
you should maybe
hilarious.
slow down. Yeah,
That's
so
hilarious. Yeah,
I don't
man,
know. I'm
it's all right.
still walking it out. Still
Yeah,
eating pretty good, healthy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Hey, man.
this
Hey, man.
this
Just
really
make.
helps.
It's
Turns out.
funny. You make that like thing your norm, and then shit changes. It sounds
Yeah.
like you're doing it. So that's awesome, man. That's awesome. For me,
What
man,
about you, man? Well, what you been on? You've been playing games. You've been
I
working
have
out. You've
been
been
playing games. I have been playing
chasing.
games. I've so Final Fantasy VII remake. I started that. That is fucking great. I know I'm late on the train for it, but that's all right. It's all right. It's not.
I
It's
feel
not.
like
It's
you're
not
at
about when you
the.
get there. It's how you get there.
I feel that's the perfect time because they're about to drop the next part of
second
it,
one.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
At some point.
I
Is that
think
next year?
2022 is like what it is, but yeah, it'll be fresh in my mind. But it's fantastic. It takes all of like the like weird grindy aspects of old school Final Fantasy, gets rid of those, it just streamlines it so it's a nice brisk pace. But
No
you
tree
don't
dick.
lose. You don't lose any of. No, it's still there. Yeah, you don't lose any of the story or any of like the little character building moments. And actually, I think it's better than the old one, and I'm
All
probably gonna get
right.
like flamed, but
I don't know.
it's
I think there's
fantastic.
a lot of rose tinted nostalgia glasses for that
And
Final
and
Fantasy
and I'm
VII
one where I don't care about graphics and stuff, but I'm talking from a pure just game
gameplay.
design standpoint.
Yeah.
It's better,
I
and I
will tell
like
you this.
turn-based RPGs, and I play it like it's like the battle, active battle style, and not turn-based. So it's been fantastic. That
Yeah.
has consumed me.
The OG Final Fantasy is the first game I ever fucking rage quit in my life because I had about 40 hours in and my save got erased by my brother. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
good, man. I was grinding it out and I was at a
This
part where I've been grinding for like 10 hours and I was like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna play the game after I reach this level. And then like my save got erased and I was like, you know what, man? Fuck this game, honestly, because
yeah.
like you have to grind so much in it. There's a lot of just bad RNG design, like where you can like find certain spots on the map. But I mean, all those old school Final Fantasies were like that. I remember like Final
Yep.
Fantasy. That was one thing I didn't like about the remake because like the RNG wasn't quite random. Like so like in one spot in the first Final Fantasy on the NES, not any of the remakes, like there's like a hallway you could go back and forth and you'd always fight these really high level, super easy to kill monsters. And I would
Okay.
just grind that out to like get like max level, like real early on in the game. It was like between the third and second place.
Are you hoping when that Team Ninja developed, Square produced Final Fantasy Warriors of Light or whatever the hell it's called that we shit on earlier?
What did they say?
Comes out.
Was it like darkness
chaos?
or something?
Chaos. Yeah. Are you hoping that hallway exists in that game so you can just grind it out?
I'm not playing that game. All right, I'm
gonna play it. You're gonna play it. We're all gonna play it. It's gonna be great.
We're all gonna play cast. I watched the cinematic memes of it.
Yeah,
on YouTube. That's it. That's all.
I produced one. I don't know. Did I upload that?
You've been memeing on Final Fantasy.
No, maybe I think I maybe shared it through
the
text,
secret
text chain. I'll have to.
Right.
I'll see if I have it. I'll slap it on this video.
Chaos.
There's this punk song. It says chaos. It's a one-way ticket to chaos, and I just put that guy saying it over it, which made me laugh. But yeah, good stuff.
So enjoying Final Fantasy.
I'm enjoying Final Fantasy VII, man. And as far as
making your way through, has it been consuming your life?
Yeah, it has, and it's been fantastic.
Did you beat it already?
No, not yet. Not yet. This is the PS5 game that I was like, it's my next step because I beat the Spider-Man game. I beat what else? I can't remember, but anyway, that's the one I'm going through.
Clank,
no, I didn't beat Ratchet and Clank yet. Demon Souls, yeah. No, I didn't beat either of those yet. But I've beaten Demon Souls in the past before, so it's not like pertinent. It's great, but I'm like, I need experience. So yeah, good shit.
You gotta
be
in the right mental and emotional space for Demon Souls. You can't just be like,
I
can play whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't matter to me. As far as the PC front, man, still grinding.
Caught a little bit of your stream.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Still grinding on the Valorant. It's getting a lot more consistent now. We only lost one game the last stream I did. It was the first game, and then we just fucking
taking that shit very seriously. Like I was surprised because like all of you guys I know are like pretty funny and like jokers. Nobody like there was moments where nobody said anything. Like you're like absolute quiet, like waiting, making plays, calling out spots. So I was like, what is it? What am I watching? What happened to my friends? That game turned you guys into a bunch of tryhards, bro.
No, I mean, we're not gonna talk when someone's trying to clutch. It's like a 1v4, 1v5, dude. We're not gonna talk when you're trying to clutch it out. But I mean, we still joke. I don't know.
I saw a guy knife another guy.
That was a Trank play. Yeah. It was sick.
Just running around there like an apex predator, like pulling out knives and shanking kids, dude.
Yeah, that was the first game. Man. Yeah, that was good shit. But yeah, man, Valorant's been going well. Still biding my time before Halo Infinite's release, and I think I'm gonna take like a good week off of work when Halo Infinite comes out. I'm just gonna grind the fuck out of it. Everyone's invited to play with me. I don't care who. If someone's online, just join up. I don't give a shit. We're gonna grind it out. It's gonna be the best.
Stripping back so much stuff. Is that gonna be on Game Pass? Do you think like as a freebie?
Yeah. No, it already. Well, the multiplayer is already free for Halo Infinite.
All right.
Yeah.
So like the base game, is that also? Do you think they're gonna
the base game's Game Pass? No, it's 100% on Game Pass. All first party Microsoft games will be on Game Pass at launch.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to play some of this. When's this coming out?
December 8th.
It's so far yet so close.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be fun. So yeah, man. So that's what I've been up to. It's been fun. Next week, I'm sure we'll talk about a little more stuff because there's another game that came out this week that I'm playing. A little game called Aliens Fireteam Elite. Very fun co-op game. It's been said that it's very like bare bones. I disagree, and I'll go into that next week, but we'll get to it. So this week's episode, man. We've been rambling on for quite some time, but
as you do, man. Like we're just getting into it, bro. Like
true.
I don't know. We're talking about things that are important things.
True.
Like shanking people from the shadows.
Like shanking people.
Which brings it to the topic of today's mechanic, stealth games, sleuthing.
Stealth games, man. It's the genre that had such a height where you had two games battling for the top spot, and I think a third game that really took it, and no one was ready for it. So we talked about it a little bit the other day. Metal Gear Solid, the MGS series, versus Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
So let's get into this a little bit, man.
Like people, and I'm probably one of them because I haven't looked too deep into it. They gave Kojima the father position of creating stealth genre as a whole, because in the first Metal Gear Solid game, they couldn't. It was like they couldn't render more than one bullet on the screen at a time, so they had to
First
figure out what.
Metal
Yeah,
Gear.
for yeah, NES Metal Gear.
Yeah, because Metal Gear is a separate series. Go on.
So solid, whatever, bro.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get me with your fucking high level Metal Gear lore. You're not gonna pull me into this shit. Uh, yeah, so they couldn't render more than one bullet, so they had to like come up with some sort of way to like make the game fun without shooting. So he was like, all right, well, if you could hide in crates and like use line of sight and like they have like timed lasers that you have to like navigate through. So that was his idea. He was spearheading that team. He came on a little bit later. He didn't come up with Metal Gear, but he took over basically from that point on. Uh, and so those mechanics of stealth and hiding, line of sight, those kind of have propagated all games. Like I talked about this before, like we even started where I went to Steam and I typed in like stealth games to like see like, oh, what's out there right now. And like you were upset when I started telling you about like the top results where it's like Katana Zero, Hotline Miami, and you're like,
No.
bro, those yeah, those aren't stealth
Those
games.
aren't stealth,
I was like,
yeah.
yeah, but like everyone's like it has a line of sight, mechanic, therefore it's stealth, and I'm like,
No. There's there's a indie game Gunpoint. I would consider stealth because part of stealth is it's not just line of sight. It's you can actually hide in the shadows, right?
yeah,
Like let's take the first like big stealth game on PC, Thief: The Dark Project, right? The game was renowned for its use of shadows, and you actually had like a shadow meter where you could see how deep you like the game did it, but obviously computers weren't as powerful then, so they had a little meter going how deep you were in the shadows too, and
shadow depth.
you could literally be in the shadows and have a guard walk by you, look like in the shadow, but it's too damn dark for him to see you, and then you could just come out and just fucking stab the shit out of him.
Tricum.
So any and games have like most big games have stealth sections now.
Yeah.
And
I was
and
like
some
brought up.
do
I was
it,
like, I feel like people hate stealth, and you're like, what? Nobody hates stealth. And I was like, escort missions and stealth missions when they're like just thrown in randomly into like your Sunday,
yeah.
like and you're not expecting it, bro. It's like an apricot in like your banana sundae. All of a sudden, like you're biting into it, you're like, oh, this is a delicious hot fudge banana sundae with the whipped cream, and you're like, why is there fucking apricots in this?
Like apricots.
Yeah,
But I also like stealth in my
yeah.
in my other games.
Yeah, the people who like it are going to enjoy it, but like if you don't, particularly enjoy an apricot, you're like, yo, stealth is the worst part of this game that like you shoved into like there. And same with escort missions, but
I would
I would
argue
say
escort
it's
missions are more detrimental than a stealth mission. Like some games that without stealth, that's not based on stealth, their stealth mission is the highlight of the game. Take like my biggest example right now, Call of Duty 4. That mission where you're stealthing through the grass and the fucking tanks are coming and enemies are walking by you and you fucking lay in the grass and you don't move as everyone's walking by you. That is so fucking effective, and you otherwise you would have just had a humdrum, run around shoot everything game.
I mean,
That
you're
game
playing
either.
Final Fantasy VII. That's basically a giant escort mission. Boom, mic drop. I would drop this mic, but it's on a stand.
All right. I mean, you're going around blowing up Shinra's shit just to
That's an escort
save
mission,
the
bro.
Earth. There's no escort mission. Go on. Let's see. What else you got?
Yeah. So other games that kind of came up on there were like Dishonored, Tomb Raider, and like again, these are like games that
Tomb Raider,
have
the current ones do
stealth
have
elements.
stealth elements. Yeah, it's not a stealth game though.
Yeah.
Dishonored's definitely a stealth game.
Yeah, I would say like we get those memorable sound clips from stealth games. Like if your game doesn't have like a memorable sound clip of when the guy loses a line of sight on you, it's probably not a stealth game. Like, this is one of the telltale signs. So I don't know if you could insert some of those clips or whatever, but it's like I don't know.
Obviously,
Who turned off the lights?
The
like
exclamation point
Yeah.
too, and Splinter Cell has characters looking at you. They actually turn their flashlights on and go in and like look into the shadows to see if you're there and shit, which is pretty cool.
What was that?
And then
Must be
Tenchu.
nothing.
Tenchu's my favorite. Of I'll find you. You know? Yeah, man.
So yeah, I don't know. I would say like Tenchu's probably the quintessential stealth game for me. I played a lot of Tenchu on the PlayStation.
First
Tenchu
one.
1 and 2. Yeah,
Okay.
both
Okay.
of them. The
Yeah.
other ones don't count. Tenchu Z's not a real game. Like, sure, it came out on the
The
360 or
360.
whatever, but
Yeah.
it was not a ten. Like it's upsetting me so much. I'm stuttering, dude. I'm like, it was not. It wasn't a real Tenchu game.
Yeah, no, the series, pretty much ended on the Xbox and PS2 era with the last one. And then it had a very good versus mode too. If you ever played that, like you'd have Ricky Maru
Yeah,
versus, and you could play with some of the boss characters and shit. Like Sir Solace and
that
I
was
played
all right.
the fuck out of that game. So,
Sure.
yeah, it is. Tenchu was great. The stealth in Tenchu was also great, and it's really the only ninja game like for a long time where it was focused on stealth, right? Ninja is the quintessential stealth like popular medium. There's only
Sure.
like one game representing it, like that's ridiculous.
I feel
And
like
then
ninjas have become more of a broad circus term for anything after Naruto dropped, bro. Like now ninjas are whatever your imagination wants them to be. Like it they really they're just like, oh, these kids are not just assassins, they're also magic users and they're gonna fight God. Like
right,
ninjas have become like whatever now, man.
yeah,
There's no OG ninja. I feel like there's like a cyclical pattern of like what's hot in the popular media. It's
yep.
like goes like ninjas, zombies, like robots.
Robots that popular now.
It goes in a pattern, bro.
Got
Like
it,
at some
got
point,
it,
like
got it.
we're gonna hit robots. You're gonna see like another like mechs coming out.
We'll see. Yeah.
Cyborgs like your Terminators.
Right, but
This type of
yeah,
thing.
Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, Tenchu Return to Darkness is what it was called on the Xbox. It's like the last great Tenchu game. Uh,
Yeah.
and that being said, ninjas are still represented in stealth media, which is Mark of the Ninja. Have you played that game as a 2D? Like it's a 2D,
like a side
it's a
scroller,
side
right?
scrolling game, but it does stealth so fucking well, dude. Like those guys at Clay, they honestly can do no wrong, dude. Seriously, everything they've put out has been unique as fuck and just a banger after banger, dude. Like shout out to those guys. They know how to make games, man. They know how to make like bigger concepts work in a 2D space. It's incredible. So I mean,
Like me personally, I kind of checked out on the stealth genre from Deus Ex Mankind.
Yeah,
uh,
human
because
evolution and mankind.
yeah, it was like,
Divided.
oh, you can play any way you want, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna build a stealth build. This can be great. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna take down the Illuminati. Uh, and then there's like one part of the game where they like force you out of stealth and you have to like get into a gunfight. But I put like all my points into stealth, so I couldn't gunfight at all. So I kind of got like like hard/soft locked in this like weird cutscene, and I was
Yeah.
like, man, fuck this game, and I just uninstalled it and never
So,
touched that game or stealth games again. Like
so
even like
I'm glad you mentioned Deus Ex. So the original Deus Ex,
yeah.
basically the quintessential cyberpunk game, right? You could do whatever you wanted, however you wanted. You could play that game like a straight up shooter. You could play that game as an RPG. You could play it like a stealth RPG, right? You could pick locks. You could go through that entire game without firing your gun,
Yeah.
except for I think one mission we have to set. No, even then you could just plant a bomb on them and walk away. Yeah, you don't even have to fire your gun in that game.
Cool
So
guys walk away from the explosions, bro.
yeah, yeah, dude. So I mean, you go from that game, but where it was one of the first sandbox experiences where the game was completely open to you. You could up your hacking so much in Deus Ex where you could hack a robot and it'll walk around murdering everything on the level for you.
Yeah.
like that was incredible, man. For the good game, I will say that the new Deus Ex games were good, but they fell short of what you wanted from a Deus Ex game. Am I right to say
Yeah.
that? You think that you didn't
I
had
think,
freedom,
I
but
mean,
it wasn't full.
it was an absolutely different product from like the original game was like so much like it had like the beats. It had like it was basically its own separate game with the Deus Ex, branding on front of it.
Hmm.
I would say almost where it's like the and that's no fault of the game creators. I think
Square. Yeah.
yeah, Square. I think things have just changed so much in the gaming space where it's like you can't really do that with like mass market appeal game anymore. And like to make that OG Deus Ex, like it would take so much more time and money. And they were like, I think at some point they realized how much time and money they're putting into it. And they're like, yeah, we have to make this a AAA game now. And then they're like, okay, but we have to have other stuff in there that's going to be way funner, more popcorn, thrill ride.
Yeah.
Uh, and like, I don't know, Deus Ex was like more of a slow, plotting, like methodical, like you have to, it was a thinking man's shooter.
Yes, it was. Yes.
You know, and like they were like, we want the absolute like we want people to just press the button and things to be awesome in the new game. Uh and so yeah, if you approach it with like that first Deus Ex mindset, like you're gonna have a bad time in the new one.
Yeah.
But if you look at it like its own separate game that happens to share the name of something else you might like yeah, it's okay. Like it wasn't for me. Like it kind of, like I said, turned me off from like the whole stealth genre where it's like those stealth elements were in like other games. Like it was in like Cyberpunk where they tried to incorporate like that, where it's like the hacking, hiding, and like looting. But like even in that game, they force specific like stealth mission moments. And again,
Yeah.
man, it's those random apricots in my Sunday. And I'm like, I have no point. I had the opposite problem in that game where I had no points put into stealth, and
Yeah.
everything else was like into shooting. But luckily, like you could like you said, like had multitude of options where I could like hack through things. And
Hmm.
like I was so powerful at that point, I could like just like superhuman like jump over everybody and like land at the objective and like hack it and then run off. And like it was not a problem. So there it was okay, like implementation of like forcing stealth just because like there's so many more options. Like
So the best games that use stealth as like an optional gameplay moment are ones where the tutorial isn't a true tutorial. It's just a moment where like your character has like maybe a pistol or something, and you're like, oh shit, if you shoot, we'll be fucked. So take it slow, take it there. I thought the very first Last of Us implemented it super well because obviously there's a huge stealth component in the Last of Us games, and the first time you actually had to use stealth, I thought it was effective as shit. So games where you have a tutorial that's not framed as one, that's like a guiding hand instead of a press, this is how you stealth, press A to do this. That's where it's an effective gameplay tool. um, so you mentioned that you don't like stealth being added into it. So what would you say outside of Tenchu? Do you have another like stealth game where you're like, they do this very well? And I'm going to bring up a series that I'm guessing you've played and I'm guessing you also enjoy, Hitman.
yeah, I was, you know, he kind of beat me to it, but like I think Hitman does a lot of that stuff really well, just because it takes the design philosophy of like multiple critical paths, where in something like Deus Ex or Cyberpunk, where it's like hacking, shooting, uh,
Hmm.
or like you brute force
Yes.
or stealth. It'd be the third pillar, right? You have like the brute force would be shooting, the hacking would be like you turn like surveillance
It's
systems
it's
or
finesse,
robots
mind,
or
and brute, right? So
sure, however
yeah.
you want to say
So
it.
finesse would be your standard stealth things. Mind would be hacking, technical stuff. Getting around it through thought, and brute would be just going out and gunning your way through.
Gun blazing,
Yep.
action hero.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, and it takes like those three like type of thoughts, and then it's just like now all of them are for stealth and assassinating somebody.
Yeah.
So it's like you can hide up and then like put poison in something. You can like turn a machine around and like hack that where they're gonna die that way.
Hmm.
So you could like hit them with the pistols, the old
Yep.
potato in the tailpipe, and watch
Yep.
them explode. Uh,
So Hitman, I think, I think those guys at IO Interactive have perfected Hitman with the newest series, the Hitman and
yeah,
Hitman 2, Hitman 3, just because they're giant ass sandboxes where you can do whatever the fuck you want to try and murder this person.
yeah, they're
Like
fun.
they've really perfected it. And then Hitman's also the only game that truly does the hiding in plain sight well.
Yep.
Other games do it, but it's not, it doesn't hit as hard as it does in Hitman.
Hitman.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I see what
Um,
you did there.
but like the other game that tried it was Splinter Cell Conviction. With in that game, they were like active stealth. It's like you're just so damn fast. You're like a goddamn. You're a modern day, not a modern day super ninja with your. You're like this is before John Wick came out, and Sam Fisher was John Wicking the fuck out of everything with like the marks and the shots. Like it was a fun game. I see what they're saying with active stealth, but it's not the stealth game that I wanted from my Splinter Cell. You know, like it was definitely more of an action movie.
It definitely had that feeling of like. You know, like you're saying, like John Wick, like Born Supremacy, like you kind of like turned up to
super
11,
spy, right? Super
spy, yeah,
yeah.
And it kind of worked, but it also kind of felt flat. Like again, like if they're kind of doing this with all of Tom Clancy's IPs at this point, where they're just slapping the name on it, where it's like if they had just had like some sort of like spy thriller and then put that game out without the Splinter Cell name on it, I think you would have had a way better time with that game.
I think if you want to use a universe, call it third echelon something. You know, just label it third echelon because they're not only that unit was not just for like Sam Fisher or just slow stealth gameplay. That unit does bigger shit too. So
there's plenty of room in like the lore, the world building that goes into it, and it shows how little care and how much they just treat it as like a marketing tool, and like really just like. Disrespected the franchise a little bit. Like, not like and I use that lightly. I know it's kind of like a big, $3 word, put a little disrespect on it, but like, it's hard to like, disconnect from like what the franchise was building to. And then like what those like later stealth games have now become. Like you can see it with, like Deus Ex, you see it with like Splinter Cell, you see it like with everything except for like, Hitman is like the only one that's like, all right, let's turn this shit up to 11 and like do it right.
Yeah, there's something. So Splinter Cell came out at a time where Metal Gear Solid was basically the only game in town in stealth.
Even like Metal Gear 5 did a lot of like stealth stuff really good, like really well, good.
Yeah, it came out with
more gooder.
When Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear 3 were in their heyday. And
I think like
one
Snake
thing that
Eater
Sam
was probably
Fisher
the low point.
What?
That's right.
Snake Eater 3? That's considered the
PSP.
best game. That's good. That's not Snake Eater, dude. Snake Eater's for PS2.
Are you sure?
There's one game in the era, Peace Walker.
I don't know. I'm about to look up the tape. We're gonna have to look this up later.
I don't have to look it up. I'm just telling you right now. and no, wow, Jesus. You're gonna get some hate for that, and I am not gonna shield you because that is wrong. Anyway,
you're just simply wrong on
this. So Splinter Cell had what? So Snake was always very athletic, very acrobatic in cutscenes. In actual gameplay, it was a little
like
stiffer.
A dad bod.
It was a lot more. No,
it was like your dad tried to like fill in for the action star.
The game was a lot stiffer, right? Like you were hiding behind walls or whatever, but you weren't like climbing over things and stuff like that. Splinter Cell gave you so many different movement options that it definitely influenced other stealth games. Like the big marketing thing for Splinter Cell, not just the 3 goggles, but it was the split jump. So if you had like a wall that was close enough, you could double tap the jump button, and Sam will do the splits on the wall and stand over them. You can either shoot him with your gun while you're there, or you can just drop down. Exactly. Just like that, one of those things was super cool, and the way they did stealth of crouching, slow walking, and shit like that like everything else like copied that exact like motion style.
Can we make
stealth
a game, you and I? Mm-hmm. Where we just have a swear button and like a Jean-Claude Van Damme button.
There is a game with a swear button, actually.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like a
50 Cent. Bulletstorm, right? 50 Cent. Yeah.
That Bulletstorm, I think, had one too.
I think Bulletstorm. Like... They either did or they're just potty mouths, but I can't remember. I haven't played Bulletstorm in a while. But yeah, it's hilarious.
Like all it is just a long hallway, and like you have to time. Was it like kick dive? It has like the kick dive mechanic. Right. Now it's like Jean-Claude Van Damme and swear.
There's another thing too that Splinter Cell innovated on with when you had the second game in the series, Pandora Tomorrow, introduced like this ingenious multiplayer mode of spies versus mercenaries. Mercenaries were in first person. Their field of view was limited, which other games like Dead by Daylight do with a limited field of view, and you had the spies who were third person, typical like true Sam Fisher style gameplay. And the spies had to hack these boxes, and then they had to get the fuck out. The mercs are trying to stop them. That So I'm gonna go Chaos Theory. Chaos Theory perfected that formula so much
The
with that
game
multiplayer
studio,
mode.
not the.
No. Again, that's Ninja Theory, but no, Chaos
Okay.
Theory, Splinter Cell 3 Chaos Theory perfected that gameplay mode where it's one of my most played Xbox games, and one of my best LAN experiences that I'm always trying to recapture with Splinter Cell. The Spies vs. Mercs mode was incredible. Metal Gear came out with Metal Gear Online for 4 and 5, and wasn't it wasn't what Splinter Cell did for stealth. Like I feel Metal Gear Online was more of like there's stealth elements, but it was very bare bones and felt
Yeah,
clunky.
it's more
And that
action
makes sense.
oriented.
I think Metal Gear is a series that does stealth wonderfully, and story wise, it can't be beat. But Splinter Cell, so from a gameplay standpoint, did a lot of things that a lot of Metal Gear fans like don't realize. And Ubisoft has such a stick up their ass when talking about Splinter Cell that they never go back to it. Like you have Splinter Cell, like Sam Fisher in like Ghost Recon game is like DLC. You have him in Rainbow Six Siege now as an operator where he's just running around shooting shit. Like that's not where I want Sam. I want him. It doesn't even have to be Sam Fisher anymore, dude. Just give me a fucking stealth game. I don't like.
You know who I would love, and I'm not sure how possible this would be. I would love the people who made Doom Eternal to make a Splinter Cell game.
Ed.
I think,
You want
yeah,
id Software to do it? That's not happening. Just rights alone.
I
But
want. Didn't they get bought up? Aren't they part of Bethesda? Didn't Bethesda get bought up by Microsoft? Is
yeah,
that, who
yeah.
owns Splinter Cell? Is that EA?
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft? What does Microsoft own that has a stealth game mechanic that
Nothing.
we can have? They could
Nothing.
just make their own thing.
They
All
make
right,
their own. Yeah.
id Software. I want you to just make not Sam Fisher. You can call him Fisher Sam, and
Fisher
have it.
Price.
Yeah, Fisher McPrice, and have him do stealthy adventures with that id Software Doom Eternal fighting mechanic, where it's the finishing combos onto people. Uh, Instead of monsters, just do ninjas or whatever, mercs, robot mercs. Everything's robots in the future. So we're gonna
Yeah.
you have a human who's got to take out all these robot drones in stealthy ways and
Yeah.
do the id
It,
software
it's one of
treatment
those
to it.
things where games now they're
That's my
like
pitch,
with
dude.
RTX lighting and shit. Stealth games could be so fucking great. You
Yeah.
know, I'm waiting for something to really utilize RTX lighting, really just bring it to the forefront. That one, the Robin Hood game came out, Hood Legends or Hood. I can't remember
You know,
what the thing was.
we didn't
Had
touch
cool
on
stealth shit. Go on.
as soon as you said sorry, but Mother Ekin Batman, dude, Arkham
Arkham
Asylum,
Asylum and Arkham City. Yeah.
those mechanics, stealth in that game, phenomenal. Dude, I played all the first one, the second one. I didn't do Arkham City, where it brought out. I started
Arkham Knight.
yeah, I started Arkham
Yeah.
Knight, and like I got like a quarter of the way into that one, and I was just like, I don't know about this.
The
It,
Batmobile turned you off.
no, I had just played all of them back to back to back. And, like I think
Okay.
that was a lot of Batman
So you did
for one
Arkham
sitting.
Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins. Did you do that one too?
Yeah, I
Because
think
Origins
Origins
was the
is
prequel, made by a different studio.
okay. Yeah, I think I got to Origins like halfway through. I think no, it was City because the whole city got taken over with the gas.
Yeah, yeah. City was the second one.
Yeah, maybe it was, I had played City and the first one back to back, and
Okay.
it was just a lot of Batman to
Yeah,
like play nonstop.
yeah.
And I was playing like 3-4 hours a day each like
It's
nonstop.
fantastic. Yeah,
It was great.
yeah. It
Those
did
games are
stealth.
amazing.
It did stealth wonderfully as well. It
It had
was
cool
what
gadgets.
it did stealth like the active stealth that Splinter Cell Conviction tried to do, but did
Yeah.
it more effectively because while you were Batman, you weren't like super invincible. You actually had to go back in stealth and just grab people. You're right. You're right. It was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Batman
I feel
Arkham.
like the battle systems are close to what I was thinking with like id Software, like where you have multiple opponents and stuff, and like you have to prioritize like a threat level between
Hmm.
like the thugs and like the type of enemies. I know like id Software does that really well with like how they silhouette characters and how they interact in groups.
Yes.
And like Batman just kind of scratched the surface of that, and that's what it made me think of. I was like, oh, you know who already did basically what you're talking about? Is Batman, bro.
Yeah.
Instead of robots, it was villains in
Yeah.
Arkham Asylum.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was great.
Arkham Asylum was also like a great. It's fucking Metroidvania, dude. Like the first one was fucking it's fantastic, really good game. Yeah, man, it's awesome. But like I said, like
I would like to see like a new Arkham Asylum. Like if we're talking about like a modern game that they could come out with, like for RTX, all this stuff. I would say, maybe if they redid, that first Batman, I think like I have to like take down my hopes and dreams from like id Software like doing an awesome stealth game to like maybe they'll re-release
Rocksteady.
maybe they'll
Yeah.
re-release some of these old games with like
See,
modern graphics like 4K
I
up-res them.
I am done. Like while I'm playing a remake at the moment and loving it, I'm kind of done with these remakes and remasters. Give me new IPs at this point.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like a lot of these game series, while I love, like, admittedly they're getting long in the tooth. You know, it's like I'm playing the same series for 20 years now. Just give me something new. I want a new stealth game. That being said, like, have you played like Styx? Those games where you're like where you're a goblin running around. It's like
No, are you making this up? Are you messing with me?
Not at all. Not at all. It's a stealth game where you're like a goblin running around
Styx,
fucking
like
murdering things.
STYX?
Yep.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah. Both criminally underrated stealth games. Like they're not the greatest, but it got a sequel for a reason. It's like I got it for free. Well, not free. It was like in a Humble Bundle, right? Ended up playing
Like as
through
you're
it.
saying this, I'm like, I think I might have this in my
You might
Steam
have it from a
library.
Humble Bundle. Yeah, definitely did check it out because I played it and I started it just to see what it was, right?
Yeah.
Next thing I know, it's 9 hours later and I beat the game and I'm like,
2 a.m.
that was great.
You're naked.
Exactly. Well, I started it off naked, right? but yeah, dude, so let's just kind of wrap it up here. We thought we kind of rambled about Metal Gear, Splinter Cell, stuff like that.
Put
But
a bow on it.
I think that stealth as a genre, we're still getting games, right? Sniper Elite 4 was probably the last big release. Hitman 3, it's still happening. It's not happening with like a triple A polish to it though. Like you say what you will about Sniper Elite, it's not a triple A game. Do you think like we'll have a seminal stealth game in the near future? Do you think that the genre is dead, or do you think that what the genre brings are just going to be within bigger games now?
Yeah, I think kind of like we always kind of come back to this, or at least I do, where it's like that DNA for like is bled into everything at this point, where there's like those type of ideas of like line of sight, hiding, being able to trick like AI, make it feel like a lived-in world. Uh, those carry over. I think those are just like good fundamental game mechanics, like to create any genre crosses like everything. But like a straight up like stealth game, yeah, we're definitely gonna get some of those. I think with the success of like how Batman was, with how big Hitman's becoming,
Mm-hmm.
there's clearly like a market for this, and there's like a like you I think like you said, like I think a lot of these older IPs have been played out. I would love to see like new ideas. I don't know if it'll be at the AAA level, at the indie and hobbyist level. We're seeing a lot of like things that are 2D Metrovania, like was it Mark of the Ninja, uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, and like we're seeing those elements in things like Katana Zero and Hotline Miami and everything else. Where you're not going to call them stealth games, but there's definitely some ideas there. Uh, yeah, I'd love to see something with robots. I'd like to see id Software take a crack at it. Do it. Do it.
Yeah.
What about you, man? Any big you think there's still enough love out there, a big enough audience to justify a AAA budget?
Through talking about this, there's something that hasn't been done in the 2D space that I just kind of got an epiphany for, that I may try and do like a proof of concept of.
All right, coming soon. Jean-Claude Van Damme swearing in 2D.
No, it's a 2D top-down idea that hasn't been done yet. I'll
Jean-Claude Van Damme, bro.
I'm gonna load
Van
up
Damme button.
I think we're gonna load up Game Maker tonight and try and proof of concept this out.
Get the Van Damme button working.
I don't want to say it right now, but yeah. There's I think there's still a lot to explore in the stealth space. And one of the things that Metal Gear did was storytelling.
It's free real estate.
Was storytelling with with a pretty much abandoning stealth for the boss fights, right? Like I think what made Metal Gear so memorable is the juxtaposition of the style of gameplay, because you had the whole game basically you're not trying to be seen, right? Then you
Yep.
have it juxtaposed with boss fights where you're front and center and you got to beat the fuck out of somebody, right? Um, like the game pretty much like everyone devolves down, well, nearly into like a fist fight at the end. That's not stealth at
Yeah.
all. So I think that Metal Gear was onto something that Splinter Cell started to get, and they started to do like big set pieces at the end. Like Splinter Cell Conviction had a really cool end scene with like the snap things. Like I kind of shit on that game. Don't get me wrong, Splinter Cell Conviction was very fun, but it wasn't what I wanted from stealth. But the final level in Splinter Cell Conviction, you were a fucking badass because
Yeah.
Sam was like dying or whatever. He's getting shot up and he was pissed, and the game just said, you know
Be
what, that
upset.
marking system, infinite. So you just were walking through this hallway and everyone is popping out. You're marking, just fucking capping everyone. It was so cool. Like moments where you feel like an unstoppable badass are the best. Half-Life 2 did it at the end where you have the overloaded gravity gun where you're just picking up fucking combine soldiers and shooting them into the stratosphere. It was like shit like that is so cool. And when stealth games do it, there's a certain level of satisfaction there.
Yeah.
To and stealth
think-
elements in games when you're where the game itself has like a better combat system for you just running and gunning, right? But when you stealth through a thing and you can walk through a level, don't you feel like a badass at that point? I think stealth games, when done properly, it has this great feeling of empowering the player, and you finishing something, you feel a sense of accomplishment and a sense of being empowered. And I think that other games can definitely learn from it. Shout out to the indie studios like the Origami devs, the Masculine Ninja devs, Invisible Ink, which I can't believe we didn't talk about, but that's one of
it
the
goes without saying.
best stealth.
I would
Best
say
stealth
one
games
other thing
ever.
we didn't touch on was like stealth games have some of the best stories. Like it is crazy. Like it
Typically,
almost
yeah.
seems like hand in hand with with the stealth game, like you can have like a really good, memorable story. And I'm not sure if that's like a byproduct of the sneakiness of having to sneak around, where it's like you
Yeah.
hang on, like you pick up different things just from atmosphere, dialogue, like things that are happening around you. And it's
Yep.
like almost like a organic storytelling that happens from a stealth mechanic.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even like smaller, like Stealth Inc. or Stealth Bastard Deluxe is what it started off as. Then the game got some traction, and they renamed it to Stealth Inc. But Stealth Inc. 2, uh, the game was a smaller like indie like title published by EA, I believe, and it was fantastic. Like story wise, like where you had a bunch of clones of yourself
Yeah.
going around and stuff. It was great. Like man, shout out to that. Just like kind of talking now, I realized how many stealth games I've actually played, and yeah, it was
Yeah.
fantastic.
They
So
seem to come out in waves. Like I
yeah,
think we'll have that AAA wave within a year or two.
yeah.
Just
Well,
because like the way the studios are set up right now, they're like, what can we get away with that where we don't have to worry about AI or really good and they're like, what about story and atmosphere? And you're talking about stealth games. You're like,
yeah.
yeah, maybe I am.
Yeah, especially with RTX lighting and stuff, I think you can make something phenomenal,
Yeah.
a phenomenal stealth game for those that have access to using those tools. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So wrapping up, man, I think stealth games. I think they're in a decent spot. We're not oversaturated with, and I think the ones that come out, we'll look at with a finer tooth comb, and they'll get the like respect and admiration that they probably deserve. The next big AAA one coming out is the Gollum game, the from Lord of the Rings Gollum. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, this game will be a full
it's
adventure
still a
stealth
thing.
game.
I almost bought that Mordor game.
Oh yeah, do
Shadows
it,
of
dude.
Middle. It
Yeah.
was like on sale for $11, and I was like, I don't know. It was like all the DLC and everything. I was like,
Yeah. So
I
let's
still had like a bad taste in my mouth from like the
their
paywall
DLC. Yeah.
kerfluffle. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's wrap up here and say your favorite stealth game and your favorite part about it. Chip, I believe you already said it, but I'll let you do it
Yeah.
one more time for
Uh,
the class.
do it for the clout, do it for the vine. Tenchu stealth assassin. I like his zip line ability and slicing fools' heads off.
Nice,
It
nice.
feels good. It feels good. It feels like much like you said, like when you're moving around and like you have like that like where you could like come in, slice someone's head off, and like zip line away, dude.
Yes.
It feels like
Oh
you're
man.
an evil Spider-Man, and I'm all about that at this
Yep.
point.
Yep. The Tenchu has such a great moment, and this will always be a highlight to me because the first time I played Tenchu on PlayStation, I bought it randomly just because it had a ninja on the cover. Right, I had no idea what kind of game this was, and I bought it for my birthday with like birthday cash. So I went to Electronics Boutique. That kind of dates me a little bit, but that's fine.
Right.
Got Tenchu. I was like, oh cool, ninjas on the cover. I'll like this game. I look at the back, seemed cool. Went there, got my ass handed to me right away, realized that this is not the type of game that I thought it was, and then kind of take it slow. And the boss of like the first level, or like the first like true level with like the man, I can't remember his name, but he's like a drunk guy who was like always trying to have sex with like a chick.
Like, oh, that's a nice pair you have.
Yes. I can't remember his name, and it bugs me. Yeah, but
I just remember that line from him.
Get stealth under like on top of the level, and then drop down and just fucking stab him. Like I remember like my sister walking into, she's like, "What is this? This looks awesome." I was like, "Yeah, it's so cool." So.
That lone wolf and cub, rivers of blood level of effects.
Yes, exactly. So we were both enamored by it, and that was great. My favorite stealth game it's Splinter Cell 3 Chaos Theory. The multiplayer, it's the only multiplayer game where you could truly play it like you were playing the single player of games. Like the shadows worked so well, and the single player was fantastic. Don't sleep on the single player for Chaos Theory because it was fucking great. It has some of the best set pieces, and if you like tactical thriller espionage stories, it's up there. It's great. It doesn't, like I will say, it doesn't hold a candle to the Metal Gear series. Let's be honest. Like no game is gonna hold a candle to their story, but Chaos Theory was so good on both single player and multiplayer front. And it had fucking co-op. It had co-op stealth, dude. It was awesome. How could you not like this? But playing the multiplayer in Chaos Theory, you had like a cloak or whatever, but you could also just use the shadows because from a first person perspective, it was dark as fuck. You had to use like your flashlight for things, and you could be against the wall hiding, right? And a real life human player would walk past you, and you'd run up behind him, grab him, and then the game with Xbox Live enabled. When you grabbed them, you could whisper at them, like they could hear you, and all they could hear. So you could just whisper sweet nothings into their ear. It was fantastic. It was a great like shit talk method. They had other spy gadgets where you could like put like a dart on the mercenary, and you can listen into their conversation. So it's no other game has done anything like that to the level of perfection that Splinter Cell did. They tried to iterate on it with like double agent and expand, like add another player to it, and I think like the level design, and there's just some weird disconnect to where they haven't done it quite right. There's always been a little something off about it. So yeah,
that secret sauce.
Yeah. So yeah, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, man. It's my favorite stealth game. It had the best experience. It had co-op. It had versus. It had a great single player experience. It had one of the coolest fucking covers ever too, of Sam just like drenched in the rain, upside down, right behind a guy ready to fucking cut his throat. So yeah, man. Yeah, I think stealth's in a good spot, and I'm looking. And while it might not be like the best, the number one genre right now, I think that it'll be the only genre in the AAA space where you'll get something possibly unique. And I think
we'll get up on you.
Exactly. And I think we'll get that for the next column game. So yeah, man, this is Combo Wombo. I am Mr. Gimpy. Chipmunk. And we are out. Take care, everybody.
Peace.
Like, share, subscribe, fucking follow, throw ninja stars at us.
People know, bro. People know.
You know what to do.
If they made it this far, there's more.
True. There's more next week. Every Sunday, boys. Take care. Later.